another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate if you jump on here live here on this midday Thursday. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Good morning, Cameron. Thanks as always for stopping by the channel. You comment just about every single video that I do, so I always appreciate it. Make sure to give the video a like and a thumbs up. But normally I'm at work at this time, but I had some things out of my control came up this morning where I was not able to work today. So I'm home. Everything is situated now, but I'm home. Good morning, Austin. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, Marcus. Glad you're here, but I was unable to work. So I thought, you know what? Since I'm at home because of things out of my control this morning, I might as well go ahead and do my video now so that for all of you college basketball nuts, you can watch the beginning of the Sweet 16 tonight without being interrupted by yours truly. Today's main topic is going to be another early season college football preview. Today I'm going to preview Florida State. But before I get into that, we had the beginning of Major League Baseball last night, one game, the Yankees and the Giants. But of course, in my opinion, baseball doesn't start until the Braves play, and the Braves play their first game tomorrow night. I always try to watch some, Austin, but I'm just so busy. I just can't dedicate myself to watching it every day. But I do at least try to read articles about it and read results from the TV shows that I don't get to see. So I at least know for the most part what's going on. But as far as watching every show, I just don't have that much time. I just stay too busy between work and church and then wrestling and then three small kids. And then there's so many things that we do as a family outside of those activities that I just don't have enough time to watch it every single night. And I'm not going to turn wrestling on for 15, 20 minutes. To me, that's pointless. If I can't watch the whole show, I'm not even going to watch it. That's like turning on a football game and watching one quarter. If I can't watch the whole game, I don't want to watch. But before I get into my prediction for the Florida State 2026 football season, I want to quickly make my Major League Baseball predictions since it is Major League Baseball season. Now I'll give you the division winners in both the National League and the American League, and then I'll give you the wild card teams from the National League and the American League. In the National League, my division winners are going to be the Braves, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. In the American League, going to be the Yankees, the Tigers, and the Mariners. Now, I can go more in depth with it. In the East, it came down to the Braves and the Phillies, but the Braves always play really good against the Phillies, and I expect the Braves to get most of their injured players back this year. And I just think they're a better overall team than the Phillies. The Mets, I think the Mets losing Alonso is going to hurt them more than they think. But the Mets always play really, really good until about mid-August, and they just collapse. So I just can't depend on the Mets. The Central, Brewers and Cubs, who it comes down to. The Brewers, I feel like their window is closing. They've had a really good team for almost a decade now, and that's why Craig Counsell finally left Milwaukee to go manage the Cubs, because he was starting to get heat in Milwaukee because they'd win that division every year and then go to the playoffs and get beat first round. But now it seems like every year they're losing either a starting pitcher or a big bullpen piece or a bat in the lineup. And they've done it again this year with losing Peralta I think their window is closing. So I got them winning a wild card. And now I think the Cubs have a better lineup. So I'll go with the Cubs. I do think Duke wins tomorrow. Johnny, thank you for asking. I always appreciate the comments and the questions. Do I hope Duke wins? Absolutely not. But do I think they will win? I do. I think Duke got their scare by looking like absolute hemorrhoid red dog doo doo in the first half of their first game. But it wouldn't shock me now to see Duke go on to win the national championship. Hopefully they don't. But if they do, it would not surprise me. So I do think they win tomorrow. Johnny, thank you for asking. So this might be the last year I picked the Brewers to make the playoffs at all. I almost picked the Pirates as a wild card team. I think they've made so much improvement, but they have the best pitcher in baseball in Paul Skeens, but I still don't think they have quite enough around him offensively. They've gotten better by getting Marcell Ozuna, but Marcell Ozuna by himself is not going to take them to a wild card spot. But if they could get one more good starting pitcher and one more big bat, I could see the Pirates being in the playoffs as early as next year, unless by some chance they hang on to the All-Star break this year and then trade deadline, they make a trade for a pitcher or a bat. Otherwise, I think they're just short of making the playoffs, but I can see them getting there next year. I do think LSU beats the Duke girls, Johnny. American League, the Yankees are getting most of their starting pitchers back this year, and I think their lineup is just so good. I'll pick the Yankees. The Astros have lost so much over the years. I just don't see them being good enough now to win that division, so I'll go with Seattle. And then the American League Central just sucks so bad. Somebody has to win it. So that's why I went with the Tigers. I think they're the least of the sucky teams, but there's nobody in that division that really puts a scare into you. So I'll go with Detroit. The Blue Jays losing Bichette, that's why they're a wild card team. And the Red Sox just don't have the rotation to win the division, but I think they have the bats to win a wild card. So that's my prediction. National League division winners, Braves, Cubs, Dodgers. Wild card teams, Brewers, Mets, Phillies. American League division winners, Yankees, Tigers, Mariners. Wild card teams, Astros, Blue Jays, Red Sox. Now on to today's main topic, which is the Florida State 2026 football schedule. A lot of folks think if Florida State doesn't win at least 8 or 9 games this year, that Mike Norvell's gone. Most folks think the only reason Mike Norvell is still there is because of the fact he makes so much money. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're either still paying Willie Taggart or just got done paying Willie Taggart, and they're also still paying Jimbo Fisher. So if you fire Mike Norvell, you're paying Taggart and Fisher and Norvell and whoever the next coach is, and Florida State just can't afford that. So really, Mike Norvell's not there because he's doing a good job. He's there because they can't afford to fire him. And if that's true, his buyout goes down by a significant margin after this upcoming season. So if that is true that he's only there because his buyout's so much, if they have another bad season, he's probably out the door. But now, I'm usually right with head coaches, just like I got a good friend of mine who's a huge Tar Heel fan, and as soon as they hired Hubert Davis, I said, Hubert's a terrible coach. And now 5 years later, he's been canned. But I missed it on Mike Norvell. When Florida State hired Mike Norvell, I thought for sure, okay, they've hired the right guy. And I came on this channel numerous times and talked about how I thought Florida State was finally going in the right direction by hiring Mike Norvell. And then he had that one season where they almost make the playoffs to go undefeated in the regular season. And I thought, okay, I've been proven right. Look what Florida State's doing now. And these last couple of years, they have just been awful. I mean, awful really is an understatement. Now, if you listen to the Florida State insiders, whether it's magazines, radio, TV, podcast, whatever, if you listen to the Florida State insiders, they say that Mike Norvell, as the head coach, is still fine. The problem has been ever since they went 13-0 and then, missed the playoffs due to the Jordan Travis injury, that, it got in Mike Norvell's head, and Mike Norvell has just not recovered from that. And the players and the staff around him can just feel the negativity coming off Mike Norvell, and the rest of the team and the staff just can't get motivated because of how, depressed and negative Mike Norvell has been ever since that happened. And if that's true, until Mike Norvell shakes that off, nobody else is going to. Now, this year they've got a brand new coordinator, if you want to call it that. It's confusing, dumb, makes no sense to me, but troublemaker, locker room killer Gus Malzahn has retired. Hey there, Island Boy. Glad to have you here. So, since troublemaker, locker room killer Gus Malzahn has retired, they hired Tim Harris Jr., I believe is his name, to be the new offensive coordinator. He was the co-coordinator last year along with Malzahn, but now that Malzahn's retired, he is the offensive coordinator. But they say Mike Norvell is going to call plays. If the head coach calls plays, then the coordinator really, truly has no job. So why even have the guy on staff? I don't even know. But anyway, Tim Harris Jr. is listed as the offensive coordinator, but Mike Norvell is going to call plays. But looking at their schedule, they've got several games that if they had better quarterback play, I could see them winning. But Florida State is going into this season and looks like their quarterback's going to be one of two people, unless something changes, which could happen between now and August 29th. It's either going to be Ashton Daniels or Kevin Sperry. Now, Kevin Sperry was already on the team, on the roster. He just hasn't played a whole lot. Ashton Daniels is now with his third team. He started out at Stanford. He's from Buford, Georgia. And you wonder, why would a kid from Buford, Georgia go all the way to California and play for Stanford? But it was really because when he came out of Buford High School, Stanford was really the only team that recruited him as far as, big-time Power 4 schools. Nobody else wanted the guy. So he went all the way from Buford, Georgia to Palo Alto, California to play for Stanford. Played there a couple of years. The team sucked. He sucked. He was no good. But he left there, went to Auburn, was still not very good. So he is now with Florida State. I think Ashton Daniels will probably start the season as the quarterback. But if he's as bad as he was at Stanford, he won't keep the job the whole year unless Kevin Sperry just doesn't make any progress. But I think Kevin Sperry has better potential than Ashton Daniels. I think we've seen the best of Ashton Daniels, and the best of Ashton Daniels is just not good, whereas we still haven't seen the best of Kevin Sperry. But one of those two guys is going to be their quarterback, and that's why I say, even though Florida State has a lot of swing games on their schedule, when you're telling me your quarterback options are Ashton Daniels and Kevin Sperry, a lot of those swing games, I just can't see you winning because you just don't have good quarterback play. In this day and time, quarterback play matters so much that you just can't tell me a team has an average quarterback and me believe they're going to win 10 or 11 games. I just can't believe that. Now, Florida State's going to be really good on defense, and they're going to be okay in the run game. But the quarterback play is just pedestrian at best. And that's why I think a lot of those swing games, they're not going to be able to win. But they open up on August 29th. So they're going to be one of few teams that has 2 bye weeks. Most teams this year only have one. The last couple of years we've started the season in late August, and everybody got 2 off weeks. But this year, most teams don't open till the first Saturday in September. But Florida State opens August 29th, so they'll get 2 bye weeks. But the first game is New Mexico State. And then they open up conference play the following Monday. On Labor Day night, they'll play SMU. Then they go back out of conference to play Alabama on the 19th of September and Central Arkansas on the 26th of September. And then they're back in conference play for a pretty good while. Virginia is the first conference game on October 3rd. And then on Friday, October 9th, they'll play Louisville. Then they get their first bye week in week 7 for them, which will be the week after Louisville. Then they come back and they'll play Miami. And then they're off again, and then they'll play Clemson on Halloween night or day, whatever the game ends up being played. And then we get into November, and they'll play Boston College on November the 7th. And then they'll play Pittsburgh on the 13th, which is also on a Friday night. So Florida State this year has a Monday game and 2 Friday games. Then they'll play NC State on the 21st of November and then wrap it up on a Friday again against Florida. So that's their 3rd Friday game. So 4 non-conference games against New Mexico State, Alabama, Central Arkansas, and of course Florida. And then the 8 conference games. Out of conference, they beat New Mexico State, and they'll beat Central Arkansas. But I think they lose to Alabama, and they lose to Florida. So 2-2 out of conference. As far as in conference, I think they beat Virginia. I think Virginia changing quarterbacks is going to hurt them a ton. I think they beat Virginia. I think they beat Boston College. They beat Pittsburgh, and they beat NC State. So 4-4 in the ACC, 2-2 out of conference, 6-6 overall. I had Florida State going 6-6 last year, and I think they went 5-7. So I was almost spot on this past year. If they go 6-6 again, it's probably going to be Norvell's last year. Like I said, there's so many swing games that they have. I gave them a couple of wins in those swing games. You know, in my opinion, Pittsburgh is a swing game. NC State is a swing game. I gave them wins there, but to me, Miami's just better than they are. They're not beating Miami. Louisville is a swing game, but since you play that on a Friday and you have bad quarterback play, I gave them a loss there. So Florida's a swing game. I gave them a loss there. So in their swing games, I gave them a couple of wins, a couple of losses. I can see them winning all 4. I can see them losing all 4. So I tried to compromise, but it's just hard for me to believe that you're going to win all your swing games when your quarterback is Ashton Daniels or Kevin Sperry. Now, Alabama is just better than they are. Miami is just better than they are. And Clemson is just better than they are. So those 3 games, SMU is just better than they are. So those 4 games, I think they lose no matter what. So I think 8-4 is the best they can do. But too many swing games for what's going to be probably an average offense. And this day and time, you just can't score 18, 19 points a game and win. Years ago, now if you can't put up at least 30 against good competition, more often than not, you lose. And I just don't see this offense scoring 30 points a game. Now, they might average 30 points a game total when you factor in what they're going to do against New Mexico State and Central Arkansas. But overall, against good quality competition, they're not going to score 30 points a game. They didn't last year, and they're not going to this year. And it's just hard for me to believe they're going to beat all these teams in swing games when they're going to have an 18, 19 point a game offense. So 4-4 in the ACC, 6-6 overall for Florida State. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I used to be a shoe salesman until they gave me the boot. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling.